Hey, spookiest time of the year is here, but do you know Halloween actually originated in Ireland thousands of years ago? Yeah, it's made Ireland a tourist draw this time of year thanks to festivals and tons of haunted sites.
So let's check in with Travel Zoo senior editor Gabe Saglie. He's been there for a few days getting all the haunting and such. He's at Trim Castle in Ireland with some of the spooky details. Hi, Gabe. I'm digging that.
Hello, ladies. Listen, I've been here for a couple of days and survived to tell the tale.
Yes.
So happy to be with you on this Halloween Eve.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so Ireland is actually the home, the birthplace of Halloween.
You better believe it. I mean, I'm in Trim now. That's Trim Castle, by the way. If you saw the movie Braveheart, then you remember Trim, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes, of course.
Right.
It's a very popular tourist attraction now. Dates back to 1172. Gorgeous. But I'm just a couple of miles away. In that direction, 10 miles or so, is a place called the Hill of Ward. It's a private farm now, but I got to sneak in. And if you celebrate Halloween, you could call this hallowed ground because through archaeological digs of remains found here, they've determined that this is where, 3,000 years ago, the very first Halloween ceremonies would have taken place, known as Samhain back then. October 31st was the end of the calendar year back then, so harvest was done, and we were hunkering down now for winter, which was coming. So they would light these fires to celebrate that fact, but it was also believed that that was the day when the veil between our world and the next was at its thinnest, meaning that, yeah, you could get spirits crossing over. So these spooky tales, of course, embraced over the years. We call it Halloween now, Samhain back then, but spooky no matter what you call it.
So, and I think a lot of people, you know, kind of confuse some of the lore that has come since then with the origination of Halloween. Halloween was not a gory, you know, awful.
Well, you know, it was considered to be potentially quite spooky because, you know, the spirits crossing over were not always necessarily all that good. Right? So, and a lot of these characters who have been part of that lore over the many years are characters who are very much alive and well in a lot of these festivals that have popped up in this part of Ireland and really across the island of Ireland as well. So I'm here celebrating what's known as Puka Festival. I was here back in 2019 when it launched. 5 years later, bigger and better than ever. I got to actually be part of the opening procession this past Saturday night, waving to the folks, because everybody came out to line the streets to celebrate Puka Festival, and I met a lot of folks from across Europe and a lot of folks from across the USA who basically are now coming out here to celebrate Halloween where it all began. And again, a lot of those characters would be kind of scary, Courtney. Don't think that they weren't necessarily potentially spooky. A lot of these fire performers have been part of the festivities, but then a lot of these characters as well. You know, there's, you know, that would have been part of these festivities. My favorite, of course, is Puka. Puka is a shapeshifter. And listen, you don't want to run into Puka. She looks adorable, I know. But if you run into her in the middle of the night, in the middle of the forest, some potentially dangerous things can happen. But again, we're embracing these roots. And you know, we're celebrating those origins and having a fantastic time all the while, of course.
Have you felt any hauntings that you've been there?
Listen, I will go to great lengths to see if places are haunted. I actually have stayed at some of the haunted places across the country. You know, when you've got a country that's got thousands of years of history, you're going to find castles and hotels and destinations that are not only purportedly haunted, but that embrace that idea. Now, I stayed at a place called Huntington Castle. Oh, see that? I stayed at a place called Huntington Castle. What's going on? Huntington Castle. It's in County Carlow. It dates back to 1625, and it's been in the same family since 1625. And in the attic of this, and we got video of Huntington Castle. In the attic, they've got presumably the ghosts of soldiers who protected this property hundreds of years ago. There it is, still inhabiting that attic. And I got to sleep right underneath that attic. I didn't sleep well, to be honest, but I didn't hear any scurrying in the middle of the night. But you know, I was awake and you know, open to the possibility. Great hospitality here, great folks who run this place. And then there's also Kilkenny Castle. I think a lot of you may know Kilkenny Castle. It dates back to the late 1100s, and there's presumably the ghost of a white lady who roams the corridors and the gardens of Kilkenny Castle. And so when you come to visit this spectacular property there, just keep your eyes open, your ears peeled, because things could very well go bump in the night.
Ooh. You have intrigued us.
Yes, yes.
Good. I want to see you out here for Halloween next year. Come on over.
Okay, we will. When are you going to come back home to California?
I fly, I think, in a couple of days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Right on.
If I survive.
I was going to say, well, until then, enjoy the hauntings.
Yes, same to you.
Thanks, Gabe.
Thank you very much.